You're listening to Lore Friendly. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Defenders S01E04, Bethesda's new unannounced game, and some possible video game to TV adaptations. I'm Kris Takahashi. Alice Bell is off this week, so we have a special guest, a YouTube celebrity, in fact.
Hardly.
Merrigan, Ronja Monto.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Hey. For people who aren't familiar, you voiced many NPCs for interesting NPCs, and you've also voiced a recent character in the Tales from the Commonwealth mod.
Yes, I did like a radio thing, right?
Yeah, you also did an NPC in the recent quest. There was like a memory machine thing, and anyways, I'm sure
Did
you
I?
completely
Oh my gosh,
forgot.
that's so embarrassing. I can't remember
Yeah.
voicing that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I probably did.
And you voiced Alasia in interesting NPCs,
Yay.
and I forget what else. Mithril, the tiny little fairy.
Yes, also Rosalind, the miner.
Ah, that's right. You'd have done a lot more voices, but you came on late to the project, right?
I did. Such a shame.
Yeah. Oh well. We'll have to make up for it with podcasts and things like that.
Yes.
But yeah, you have over 7,000 subscribers, so I'm very envious.
Oh, don't be. I mean, I get like 1/5 of that in views, so the subscribers don't mean
Yeah, I
whole
think
lot.
that's the case for everybody. With YouTube subscribers, you kind of just subscribe and then you forget about it. Like, you don't get a notification unless you hit that bell.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
frustrating actually.
No, but it's probably good because you get to keep your subscribers with most things. Like, they subscribe to something without thinking, and then like a month later they kind of forget about it, and then they get notified. They're like, oh, I didn't want to subscribe to this, so they unsubscribe. But with YouTube, your subscribers like never go down because no one ever unsubscribes because you never get any annoying messages. So that's the cool thing. It's never going to go down. It's just going to keep going up.
Yeah, I guess so. But then, because nobody watches your videos, then it's not as much of an ego boost anymore.
Yeah, it's sort of misleading from that aspect.
Yeah.
But,
But, it is what it is.
yeah. You can find your music at youtube.com/MerriganMusic. Is that it?
That's correct.
Yes.
So,
You're also on Twitter, same handle at MerriganMusic.
I am. I never tweet ever because I don't know, I think I'm too old. I don't understand the point of Twitter. It just... Meh. So, it's there, so...
You're a hipster. You don't...
Oh no,
You're
did
too
I
cool
just
for
say something
Twitter.
hipster?
Yeah, you're too cool for Twitter.
Yeah, I'm totally... No, I'm too old and too not in with the kids. Yeah,
It's all right. Age is wisdom, more or less.
totally.
So let's get on with today's show. Today we're going to talk about some news topics first, and also Defenders S04. So, first news topic: Bethesda has an unannounced game for 2017.
Oh, hell yeah!
Which we learned from Pete Hines, I think last week. He mentioned it in an interview. And well, there's if you look at the calendar, there's only like 2.5 months left of 2017. So what could it possibly be? I mean, we're not getting Elder Scrolls 6 coming out.
No, I don't think... Not yet, at least. Not that soon, but...
They're not going to surprise us with that.
No, I don't think so.
Wouldn't that be pretty cool, though, if there's... Yeah, it's just coming out next week.
Yay!
They just popped it on people.
Somebody was theorizing that it might be a Game of Thrones game.
Well, no, there was a link on Target that said Bethesda Game of Thrones. Like, they had a placeholder link
Uh-huh.
that mentioned Bethesda Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but it turned out that was false.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was a hoax.
I think they were offered to make a Game of Thrones game, but they chose to make Skyrim instead.
Yeah. We talked about this last week, but
You did.
George R.R. Martin's people came and visited Bethesda, which is always an interesting visual, because when I imagine his people, I don't imagine like guys in suits and stuff. I just imagine like a bunch of like little helpers in suspenders.
Tiny copies of it.
Yeah, you've actually met George R.R.
I
Martin.
have, and his people.
Yes. What are his people like?
Um,
Are they tiny helper elves?
no, it was a very, very nice lady, I think probably in her 40s, who pretty much handled everything. talked to people, made his appointments, everything. Her name was Joe. So that was his little
Joe
helper.
R.R. Martin. It's probably his assistant, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So does he just sit back and twiddle his thumbs while she does all the work?
No, he's usually swarmed by people, so while he handles that.
Maybe she should write the end of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, maybe.
You'd probably get done faster.
Probably. She's very efficient. We're friends on Facebook. I'm very proud of that.
Oh, wow. Now, how did you guys meet? Explain this story.
Okay, so there was a convention in my town, like 2 years ago or something, and it was like a nerd convention of sorts, about books and games and everything.
Well, those are the only kinds he attends.
That's...
Yeah, that and professional football, obviously.
Yes, exactly. So, he had been invited to this convention, and somehow George R.R. Martin and his people decided that it was a great idea to travel to this tiny little island between Sweden and Finland for a convention. It was really nice that he decided to come. So he came, and I unfortunately was not able to get tickets to the convention because I'm poor. And it was sold out by the time that I could have bought a ticket. So I was really upset about it. But I have to go a bit on a side tangent here. I am a member of this Viking Age reenactment group where we fight each other with shields and swords and stuff. It's very, very nerdy. But some of my reenacting friends were at the convention, and they met Joe, George R.R. Martin's assistant, and they invited them to the Viking village to watch us reenact.
Oh.
And they were very excited about that because, watching Vikings beat each other up for your entertainment, that's just George's thing. So,
yes, it is. I'm sure he got a lot of ideas from that.
I'm sure. So they arrived the next day to the village, and we got to fight a bit for him, and I played a bit of harp for him, and he gave us one of the faceless men's coins, and we got to ask him some questions, and it was really nice. He's quite jolly. He's kind of giggly.
He
and
looks jolly.
Yeah, he's kind of he that kind of.
So the personality matches the appearance.
Yes, very much so. I mean, when you look at him, you wouldn't think that he wrote, these horrible murder scenes in the books.
Yes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think he was anything but jolly. It would be a shock if George R. R. Martin turned out to be just like this angry dick.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, what else? Yeah, he wrote a blog post about us, actually. If you go back in his blog, then he will write about his visit to Åland and the crazy Vikings who beat each other up for his entertainment. Very amusing.
You think he just has that going on all the time? Like he's at home and he'll just arrange for Vikings to come over and beat each other up for his amusement?
Maybe now, but I think seeing us was the first time he actually watched reenactors. So that's probably why he agreed to come and watch us in the first place.
I imagine that's something people do at wild Hollywood parties where they drop acid and do crazy shit. They'll just call a bunch of people to just fight for their amusement, only if you're like a fantasy writer, you have to dress them up as Vikings and stuff,
Totally, that makes perfect sense.
Yes. It's something we're gonna do when we're rich.
Yeah, totally.
When our YouTube endeavors blow up, that's something we have to do.
Would we become the next PewDiePie?
Yeah. Well, please, let's not be that guy.
No, I mean, he's ruining his career currently by saying racist slurs in his live streams. Yeah. Silly boy.
I mean, how old is he?
I think he's my age, like 28.
Isn't that like something teenagers do? Like they just try and like be edgy and say things that you're not supposed to say.
Yeah, probably.
Whatever. It's just like
it was a very, very stupid thing, but I think it was an accident. But still.
No, but that's the thing. It's kind of the fact that those words are in your vernacular. I mean, he may not have had the intent to say like it with racist intent. But just to say those kind of things, it's just like, why are those words in your vernacular when they could potentially hurt people,
Exactly.
I mean, It's kind of like walking into a crowded room and just like swinging your arms violently. Like the odds of you hitting someone are very high. Like it might not be your intent to punch someone in the face, but intent doesn't really matter if you're doing something that is potentially dangerous.
I agree. And then, I mean, in order for you to say that word accidentally, you kind of have to be using it a lot, like in your personal life.
I'm not familiar with his work, but I assume he's the kind of person that says it to be edgy, to be against the grain. But that's not the word you want to be using.
Not really. I mean, he is. It's not really. Nah, not really. They was quite unexpected, to be honest.
No, I mean, like, why would that word be part of your vernacular?
He maybe uses it in his personal life, like not online.
Yeah, I mean, like, why would you use it in your personal life?
I don't know.
One, to be racist, right?
Yeah.
That's the obvious one. Or number two, you're trying to be edgy because it's a word you're not allowed to say, and by saying it, you're kind of breaking the mold.
But who is he being edgy for? I mean, he lives with his girlfriend. I mean, is he edgy for his girlfriend?
Right, but that, for the public, for people, like, ooh, look at me, I'm dangerous, I can say this word and you can't.
But he hasn't said it in
like
public before, though. That's
right. If that's not the case, then that means he's racist. It's one or the other.
Yeah, I mean and he doesn't come across as racist. I have a hard time believing he's racist, so the whole thing is really confusing to me. I don't know what is.
I mean, it's one or the other. You're either saying it to be edgy, or you're saying it because you're racist and you use that word often, right? I mean, there's no other explanation.
I guess so.
So yeah, I mean, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying that he's trying to be, like, you know, edgy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay. Like, why would you do that? You're a grown man.
Yeah, agreed. It's really, really dumb.
Yeah. It's kind of like when people can't abandon certain words, like, they're willing to do it if it's to make themselves look cool. Like, okay, in the 70s, people said groovy all the time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's groovy. But they don't say it anymore, right?
No.
Because they're worried they'll look outdated and they'll look, like, uncool, right?
Yeah.
So it's very easy to remove a word from your vocabulary. Very, very easy. If you're motivated by being cool. But it's funny how the moment it stops being about yourself and instead it's about not offending other people or being empathetic to other people, then it suddenly becomes really, really hard. Then suddenly the onus is on the listener to not misread your intent because you're not going to change.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. You know, I don't think I've heard you talk about anything this passionately before, Kris. It's very refreshing.
No. I am a very, very liberal lefty commie pinko. But yeah. We don't really talk about that on the podcast as much because it's not funny.
It's okay. I'm also a very liberal lefty pinko? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
It's a derogatory term for a communist, pinko.
Oh, okay. No, but I'm a socialist because I live in Scandinavia.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Socialist, communist, pinko.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so we probably have to cut all that out because it's not funny at all. Anyways.
So George R.R. Martin.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Just I will finish up my story. So the best memory I had was when we put ourselves in a line to receive his gift as thanks for inviting him to the Viking village, and he gave me the coin and he said Valar Morgulis, and I said Valar Dohaeris, and all my friends were like, what was it? What did you say? Because they couldn't remember.
Were you very quick to say it? Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I would have choked. I would have been like. Blah, 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 blah.
I felt so cool. Even Jo, the assistant, she made this gesture. I think I have a picture of her making that gesture. Actually,
nice.
I think I
would have
send them.
fucked up that moment and regretted it forever. I would have been like, oh, thanks, George. Yeah, I would have fucked that moment up. You came through in the clutch.
I did. It was a very, very cool moment.
I should have you on our basketball team. You could shoot all the last second shots, like Kobe.
Don't put me in sports, please. It's not gonna end well.
Well, Viking battles is like a sport.
It is, but I guess kind of. You hit people in specific places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specific places. Are there points? Is it like kendo where it's a point system?
Yes. Because otherwise it gets dangerous. Because if you start whacking people in the head,
right in the balls.
Yeah, it's not gonna be any good.
Although that's Game of Thrones friendly, because as we saw in that last episode, Theon.
True.
True. Yeah.
I mean,
in that fight, got that dick kick.
I have actually gotten a sword in my groin. It was very painful and it bruised so
I imagine
badly.
it would be. The target is smaller, but if it's a direct hit, I imagine that would hurt.
Yeah, because
quite a bit.
I mean, it's not. I mean, I imagine for men it's probably worse because there's sensitive stuff dangling around there. But
Right.
we have like a bone right there and a thin layer of skin and fat on top. So hitting right there is gonna hurt really bad.
Was it an accident, or was it like
It was an accident.
Is there a possibility that it was done on purpose? Like, what the hell, dude?
It was an accident. It was actually not a sword. It was a spear.
Oh,
Was
that's
in-
even
in
worse.
the
That's a
groin
worse
with a
visual.
spear.
A sword is like a blunt, like I imagine you're using blunt swords,
Yes,
not real
yes,
swords,
they
right? But
are
a spear is like pointy, and it's like, ow, yeah.
Yeah.
That would hurt even if it's not sharp. I mean,
It was pretty
like,
bad, yeah.
see, so you're an athlete.
I guess. I never thought of myself as an athlete because all other sports I absolutely hate.
You're straight up Night King. You should be throwing javelins at dragons like he does.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah. Maybe if it was you, you'd pick the right dragon instead of the one flying in the air, a moving target.
Yeah, but I think I would probably be on the good guy's side because yeah.
Maybe you throw the spear at the dragon holding all the important humans.
Yeah, probably. I wonder why he did that.
He was just showing off. He was just like I said
I
earlier,
was
it's a
thinking
Kobe.
that it was because Viserion was burning all the undead.
Yeah, but who cares about the undead?
Well, it's his army.
You just make more of them. Let's not get into
Yes, we're really bad at this following the whole.
But what do you think the Bethesda game is going to be? Bringing it back to the original topic. I think it's going to be a mobile game. It has to be a mobile game.
Well, if they announced it this late, then you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be kind of cool if it was a new IP or if it was a big game and they just announced it like a week before. Because is there really any point to hyping a game up for like 6 months or 7 months in advance? I
don't know.
There must be data on this, I guess.
I guess. We could call like a game developer or something. Ask them.
Yeah. The ones I have on speed.
Yes, I bet you have all of them. Obviously.
We're besties. But yeah, I guess it'll probably be a mobile game. Another topic I wanted to talk about was this bit of news. Amazon.com, which also has a TV service, if you weren't aware, is looking for a big time show, a Game of Thrones type show. And because they want people to subscribe. I mean, if without a big headline show, it's hard to really justify a subscription to Amazon and their TV show network.
Right.
Even if you get like critically acclaimed shows, it's not going to help. They need a big Game of Thrones show. And so that's what we're here for. We're here to make suggestions, you and me.
Okay, for like an existing show or something that would have to be made?
A new show that is Game of Thrones big. So, first idea. What do you think of a possible Elder Scrolls TV adaptation? Would that work?
I think that yes and no. It would have to be a new story that is maybe set in the Elder Scrolls universe, but not like a series of a story from the games, because stories from games very rarely work as series or movies, I find. If you look at, like the Assassin's Creed movie that came out.
Right, we're not gonna like redo like Skyrim, because that would be awful.
That would be so bad.
Imagine the uproar when they find out the protagonist has joined the Thieves Guild, the Dark Brotherhood, and the Companions.
All three of them at the same
How is that gonna work
time.
on TV? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be like the worst plot ever.
Yeah.
But,
The universe itself?
yeah, like just the universe. How would that play? I find like, I don't know, I think certain races are gonna look pretty better. For some reason, like beast races look fine. I think the Khajiit would look great. I think Argonians would look great. I think Dark Elves would kind of look silly as blue humans.
Well, yeah.
For some reason, the blue humans never look right to me. Whether it's in X-Men, whether it's in Guardians of the Galaxy, where we have blue and green humans. It just looks like a regular human wearing paint on their
Yeah,
body, so,
it's true. It's true.
yeah.
I mean,
the elves wouldn't look right to me. The dark elves in particular. Maybe the wood elves too.
no,
possibly.
and in lore, I mean, aren't the dark elves supposed to be like, you know, their features are supposed to be really exaggerated and kind of wrinkly and really, really big brow bones and all that. So they would have to do some really special makeup there, and it easily looks unnatural.
Yeah, I don't think it would look right. But visual aesthetics aside, do you think they could make a story that would be popular, like a really just big, sprawling epic?
From the Elder Scrolls series.
Yeah.
I guess. Why not? But I'm thinking they should do a TV series about the Name of the Wind, the Kingkiller Chronicles, because that
I have
would
no
be.
idea what that is.
Oh my God, you're
Is that
missing
a book
out.
series?
It's a book series. It's not finished.
Oh,
It's
okay.
much like Game of Thrones in the sense that it's not finished, and it's taking the author years and years and years and years and years to finish the last book in the series, and his fans are losing their minds. Like, can you please sit down and write the fucking book? Yeah.
Is it fantasy?
Yes, and it's very good, very good. The Kingkiller Chronicles. It's about a guy with red hair who plays the lute.
Oh, no wonder it's big on you. If only he was a woman, then it would be your favorite series.
No, it's funny because the way
And
I
his name was
found out
Ronja.
about it was, huh? What's that?
No, nothing. I said, and if his name was Merrigan.
Oh, his name is Kvothe. It's very, very exotic.
That's not even close to being married.
No, but I actually heard about the book series. Somebody left a comment on one of my songs. Oh, you're the female Kvothe.
Oh.
And I'm like, who? And I googled it, and I found out about the book series.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. And then I read both books in like a week. They're really good. That would make a great TV series.
Yeah, in general, a book series would be better because you don't have to do any writing. The writing's already done.
Yeah. Exactly.
The one thing I would say is I would try and avoid fantasy because Game of Thrones already did that. It's kind of something you need to move away from. Maybe try something different.
Yeah, I see what you mean. People would maybe compare it too much to Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It would just be like a Game of Thrones ripoff, even though it's not a ripoff. You know, it's already a written series. But something that was, I don't know, why don't we go try like something with technology? I don't know about cyberpunk, but maybe something with like steampunk, or maybe something with like a mix of magic and technology. I don't know.
Maybe, but at the same time, I'm thinking fantasy seems like something that people don't really get bored of. If you consider the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, and then Game of Thrones,
Yes,
I mean,
that's true.
all these movie series and the TV series, they're really big.
Which is weird to say because, like, you know, it used to be like that was only the nerd thing. Fantasy could never sell.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
don't
think
know.
maybe the Lord of the Rings movies turned that around a little bit because they were such a huge success.
Maybe Blade Runner coming out will be big for cyberpunk.
Maybe.
And I mean, we have CD Projekt also working on a cyberpunk game, so it feels like the 1980s all over again.
Is it a remake or a sequel of Blade Runner?
It's a sequel.
Okay.
Like they have Harrison Ford's character in there as well. It's like 2049. I think it's like 20 years later.
Harrison Ford is making like a real comeback here with.
Well, it's not really a comeback. I mean, Star Wars, spoiler alert, he was just there and then he died, so it's just,
Yeah, I guess, but it was enough.
And then Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, Indiana Jones, that movie never existed, so.
I have to admit, I've only seen like one Indiana Jones movie.
What? You have to watch the old ones. The old ones are great.
I'm sure they are. Then I've heard that they get horrible after a while.
No, the first four are great. It's just the recent one that was bad.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
The recent one has Shia LaBeouf swinging from the trees with a bunch of monkeys at his back.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf. I have such a hard time taking him seriously.
Yeah.
He's-
I mean, this is when he was back when he was trying to be serious, you know.
Oh.
So that's what made it funny. Now, if he did that now, we would just see it as another gimmick or another just, you know,
Yeah, he's
Shia LaBeouf
crazy.
being Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the time, it was a serious thing. Like, he was trying to be serious, and that's what made it funny. He was swinging through the jungle.
True.
Like, you know, like Tarzan.
Fabulous.
But yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
Mods this week. You are actually a mod author as well. This is one thing we've neglected to mention, that you are not only a famous YouTube musician, You are not only Times Person of the Year 2006.
Oh, totally. 2006.
I'm also Times Person of the Year 2006. We share that.
Oh, yeah, of course. We were together in the same spread.
With every other person in the universe,
Yes.
because Times Person of the Year was us.
Yes.
If you don't recall, 2006.
I don't recall, but that's actually kind of funny.
It was Times Person of the Year 2006 was you, the royal you.
Oh.
Like everybody in the world.
Oh, I see. That's sweet.
So.
Thank you, Times. I appreciate it.
Did you get your award? I didn't get mine.
No, I didn't get. I'm still waiting for my reward.
I'm still waiting for that. Yeah. That and Sexiest Man Alive, which I obviously win every year.
Of course.
Yes. But yeah, you're also a mod author.
Yes, not a very good one, but I am.
No. Your mod was featured on the Hot Files.
It was.
You have a Bosmer companion.
Yes.
Named Ari.
Yes,
I believe.
Ari. The mod is called Song of the Green, but the character, the follower, is called Ori.
Does she play music?
She does not. She sings one song in connection with the quest, but you cannot ask her to sing, really. She's not a bard.
Yeah. Plus Bosmer, they're anti chopping down trees.
They are.
So what would you make a loot out of? You would make it out of meat?
Bone, probably. Because,
That's
for example, in Finnish legends, the main character in the Kalevala made a harp out of a big fish's jawbone. So they probably do something like that, I imagine.
And then cat guts for strings or something.
Yeah. But Bosmer culture in general is really focused around stories and songs and stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if they had all sorts of weird little bone instruments.
What if it was made from the bones of a person?
Yeah, why not?
He's my best friend, yeah. It could be an honorable thing in that culture.
Yeah, okay. When my mother died, we took her hip bones and made them into...
It's like, want to meet my mom? She's right here.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Cultural differences, may be weird for some people, but maybe over there it's just normal.
Totally. But to be fair, the Bosmer don't actually eat their friends and their, family. They eat their enemies.
To be fair, yeah. Just their enemies.
Yeah, just the enemies. Just the ones they kill in battle. So
nothing weird here. It's just regular old enemy-eating cannibalism.
Exactly. Makes perfect sense.
And your companion eats people,
She
right?
does. She's a traditionalist Bosmer. So she will actually eat her enemies, and you can ask her about her culture, and she will explain why she eats her enemies and what else she does, why she doesn't chop down trees and all sort of thing. I made her sort of a lore bank about Bosmer. Because the Bosmer in Skyrim are... friggin' Faendal. He chops wood. What is he thinking? Come on.
Yeah. Well, he's a Skyrimized, whatever. Americanized Asians. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I guess. But, for example, Ari is not a fan of Faendal. She thinks he's a heretic and he should be ashamed of himself for chopping wood.
Yeah. Tisk.
Yes. But I have to say, the only reason Ari exists is pretty much thanks to you, because you taught me how to do the moddings.
Not really.
Yeah, because
really.
I've sent you 100 emails asking, hey, how do I do this? How do I do this?
Exaggeration.
Yeah, but I can imagine that it got pretty annoying, because the only time I contacted you was when I needed help.
Yeah.
Poor Kris. No, I really appreciate it.
That's pretty much when most people contact me.
Oh, now I feel bad.
They need help or they want to complain.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna start calling you every day just to talk about stupid stuff.
No.
Hi, Kris.
No, it's alright.
Today I went to ride a pony.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I do that too sometimes.
Then I could learn to tune you out. Like I do the people who complain.
Oh. Poor Kris.
No, I would never tune you out. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah, you're just saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. What'd you say? I wasn't listening. Anyways, last thing we should talk about: Defenders Episode 4.
Oh yeah.
I have forced you to watch this show so we can talk about it.
Yes, I pretty much binge watched the first 4 episodes and almost all of the 5th, which came out just now, but let's not talk about that. We're talking about the 4th one now.
Yes, I haven't watched that, so please, no spoilers.
Okay.
Last episode we left off where Danny had unlocked his power of white privilege, and the power of privilege in general, just being a wealthy man.
Oh my god.
But a man who can walk into corporate buildings and not get arrested. A man who can trespass into a restaurant and just, not worry about it.
So is Danny the cringy one?
Yes, he's the cringy one.
Yeah, okay. Fist. So he has the power of privilege, I remember.
Yes, the power of the fist and the much more powerful power of privilege, which he has wielded quite effectively these last 2 episodes. On a side note, I think it was funny that of the 4 characters, the only one who's actually been to jail for all the crimes that... Because, superheroes commit crimes, like they're vigilantes, right? The only one who's actually been to prison is Luke Cage. I don't know if that's intentional, but yeah, it's kind of funny. Jessica's been interrogated, but she hasn't gone to jail. I mean, Danny has been accused of crimes, but again, he hasn't gone to jail, so it's just,
Yeah.
Anyways,
Daredevil is a lawyer,
let's start with the
so.
hideout. Yeah. Anyways, let's start with the hideout meeting. What did you think of, like, the various interplay between the characters? Like, we had the 4 of them really coming together for, like, the first time and talking.
That, actually, the interaction between the characters is the one thing that I actually like about the show. It's really fun to see, like, people from these different, not universes, because it's the same universe, obviously, but, you've seen them in different shows, and then they interact with each other. I think that's fun. A little awkward, I don't know, I feel like they could have done it a little better, but for example the interaction between, oh my god, what's Daredevil's real name?
Matthew Murdock.
Thank you, Matthew, and Jessica Jones. That interaction was great.
Yeah, he's a bit he's not as cringy as Iron Fist, but he's also kind of a bit on the cringe side of the fence, whereas like Jessica and Luke are the more realistic portrayal of people.
Yeah.
So there's always like tension between those two. Like, I think it's going to be really funny at one point when Daredevil, he's the only guy in the costume and everybody else is in regular clothes. Like, he's dressed for a Halloween party and everyone else is just wearing street clothes. I mean, yeah, that's like the kind of funny part. So, and Jessica, she's the most grounded in realism. Like, she uses her superpowers the least. She's always just doing the investigating, doing the regular person stuff.
Yeah, and she doesn't wear a costume ever. She wears jeans and a leather jacket. That's
so
all.
I haven't seen her have tension with Iron Fist yet, but there's kind of tension with any of the cringy aspects, the costume wearing Crusaders, and the talk about saving the world, and like the talk about like magic ninjas and shit like that. That stuff is gonna make her like cringe just on reflex.
It's very silly. And they're all men.
Yeah, there's this like weird dynamic between Luke, Jessica, and then Danny and Matthew, because there's the cringe side and then there's the regular people side.
Yes.
But Luke kind of bridges that gap. That's the thing about Luke, is he's the conscious of the show. He's like willing to put up with cringe stuff if it means helping people, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of bridges the gap between Jessica and the other two. Because he's like, okay, like, don't leave. I know this is stupid. I know they're talking about ninjas and dragons and shit like that. But we gotta save the city, right?
True.
I don't know. How do you feel about, like, Luke?
I find his character generally kind of boring, to be entirely honest.
I find his action sequences boring. Because he stands there and just does nothing.
Yeah.
He's just there.
Pretty much. But I see what you mean, that he kind of...
You find his personality to be the same as his action sequences?
Yeah. I'm sorry if I disappoint you, but I find his personality to be very boring as well. My favorites are actually Jessica.
He's Jon Snow. He's Jon Snowish in that regard.
I guess.
He's a bit too straight, I guess. For you. You want a little bit more, I don't know, conflict or extra dimension within.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, he's still like miles better than this poor golden what's his name? Golden Hand, whatever. I mean, this...
Fighting the ninjas.
It's so embarrassing. I mean, I just cringe.
I'm the immortal Iron Fist.
The immortal Iron Fist. Oh.
Well, the thing about Jessica, like, Luke might be one-dimensional. Jessica at times can be two-dimensional. She's the badass with the heart of gold. Like, you know that all this, like, yeah, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this. Like, you know at the
It's
end
bullshit,
she's going to come around. She
But in
always
this
does.
series, she hasn't done a whole lot of anything. She's just complained. There's not been a whole lot of showing of her depth in this series.
She's very good at complaining, though,
She is very good.
as are we. That's like a staple of our show.
Yes.
Complaining and nitpicking. That's why we like Jessica.
They're all a bit whiny in this series, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, the Iron Fist has always been just a whiny person in general. I think that's why I like Luke. He's less whiny.
Oh,
He's more straightforward.
that's true.
It's weird because I've made fun of John a lot, but he's a lot like John in that sense. But
I really like John, but it might have something to do with him being a very cute young man and me being a young woman who likes cute young men, so I don't know.
yes,
Might be.
yes.
But-
I have a hard time sometimes with that too. If they're just really good looking, it's very hard to criticize them at all because you're just like enraptured by their looks.
Yeah, I mean, I love Daenerys for the same
That's
reason.
why all the companions on
Yeah.
Skyrim are good looking. It's like a guaranteed 500 endorsements. Have you ever seen an unattractive companion outside of interesting NPCs? Because I'm just randomizing sliders, but
No, I haven't.
yeah,
That's true.
Well, especially if you're making one companion. Like, it's easy for me to say I make my companions more realistically because I have like 50 of them or something. So if I made them all good looking, it'd just be weird, right?
True, but then again, a lot of the companions that exist on the Nexus are like they aren't voiced or anything. They exist solely for their looks.
Yeah, there's zero
Yeah,
dimension.
so they have a vanilla voice and then they're sexy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm only interested in the the ones with a custom voice and the story.
Sometimes
and,
that's enough. Just look at Jon Snow. But no.
Yeah.
Anyways,
he has a personality though.
moving on. What do you think about the hand side of the episode? We got Elektra questioning her existence.
Yes, poor Elektra.
Although she's really just a zombie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, cause I didn't see that part of
Daredevil
the
season 2. Oh, yeah.
Daredevil season. Yeah, I only saw the first
It
one.
was basically
completely,
a
and then
bunch of
I-
ninjas descend on New York, and then Elektra dies to save Matthew Murdoch. Like, jumps in front of a bullet kind of thing. I forget what it was. It probably wasn't a bullet. It was probably like a ninja star or something. But
why do ninjas descend on New York? That doesn't
it's
make
the
a lot of
1980s. It's a
sense.
story from the 1980s. It's just ridiculous. And it's
Okay.
like all like Asians were depicted like as like these mindless martial artists. Even in Daredevil season 2. And part of that, they're like trying to fix that a little bit with this new character. They had this Japanese dude who is basically a redo of Nobu, the like mindless Japanese ninja from the Daredevil series. He's like Nobu's master, yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, he actually gets lines to talk in this show.
Amazing.
How do you feel about that whole like they had him speak in Japanese and Sigourney Weaver speak in English?
That was.
It was a bit weird.
It's a bit weird because it doesn't seem natural. I mean,
Yeah.
why would you do that?
Yeah.
If both know both languages, why would you each just keep speaking in your own language? But then again, at the same time, because I'm bilingual. How do you say that?
Bilingual.
Lingual?
Bilingual.
Bilingual, yeah. I speak Swedish and Finnish fluently, as does my family. So it did actually happen that my mother would say something to me in Finnish and I would reply in Swedish. So it is possible.
I like the fact that they let him speak in Japanese, because then like it's always a little bit weird when like those movies with Ken Watanabe and he's like speaking English. I don't understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, depending on the person's accent, I don't know what his English accent's like, but it's just a lot more natural to have him speak and then have subtitles. I would have
Yeah.
preferred they let Sigourney Weaver speak in just broken Japanese,
I agree.
because like no one can tell the difference, like in English-speaking audiences, like that. Her Japanese.
Yeah,
is a
except
mess.
you and me,
Yeah.
because we're terrible. I mean, you're Japanese, and I'm just a terrible nerd, and I can actually hear an
Yeah.
accent.
So I think, I think it would have went better that way. But I don't know. It was interesting. I just kind of like the fact that they're giving this guy a little bit more character, and like whereas Nobu was just he was like a walking stereotype.
I agree. It was refreshing to see. Oh, look, he's actually got like he's talking, and his words mean
He
something.
has a personality. Yeah.
Exactly.
The sad thing is,
But otherwise,
it's a double-edged
ahead.
sword. Is he probably knows martial arts. Can't have Asian man without.
Of course he does. He's Japanese because all Japanese people know martial arts.
Yeah, that was like a big thing with the Daredevil season 2. They had one guy in the hand be like a non-martial arts person, like the accountant guy, and then they made him white. But yeah, more social justice stuff.
Why? I mean,
I don't know.
It's not necessarily an offensive stereotype, I don't think, because martial arts are cool, but it's still a stereotype.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
So I don't know. But I think you have more of a say in that than me. So
yeah. It's just a bit weird. It's just, anyways.
I understand.
So then we have the ending where Jessica, the badass with the heart of gold, comes storming in through the window.
Yeah, and joins the group.
Yeah. Now, see, this is the funny part because she's the one who's criticizing the cringe faction, and she's like supposed to be the more realistic character. I thought it was weird that instead of like driving the car or like backing up and running over Electro one more time, or like while she was on the ground, maybe like beating her up or something, she like walks over and stands with the other three. Like, what was that?
Well, it makes a cool shot.
I know.
Obviously.
Take away her swords. Do something. She's on the ground.
Yeah, good point. But, so far, realism has not been this series' strong point.
But she's supposed to be the one character who's real. I don't know.
I know. But I'm afraid that this...
I feel like Jessica should have a gun.
Gun? But how is she going to use her superpowers if she has a gun?
Yeah, but like...
Does she have a gun in the original series? I don't remember.
Know. I doubt it.
When
you have superpowers, you usually use...
Yeah, she's super strong. She throws people around.
But she can't hit people from a distance, right? So, gun.
True.
Gun.
But then she'll just run really fast. Or something. I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah.
What do you think overall? I mean, do you like the series? Is it...
It's a good time sink. I don't really have like high expectations for shows like these in general. It's just comic book stuff, right? I mean, like even Wonder Woman, we haven't talked about that, but I like the movie. But if I'm really nitpicking, I can super nitpick.
Yeah,
but it's
true.
it's a comic book film. Like, for example, with Wonder Woman, spoilers, the whole movie is like centered around the fact that like human beings are fallible and evil, and it's not some god controlling them. It's not Ares, like this evil like god. It's just like the human beings are real. They're multidimensional. They're the ones responsible for wars, and that's like a big thing for Diana to learn, right? Mm-hmm. And then at the end, they bring in Ares anyway, and they have this big fight, and it's like, what the hell? Yeah, that was my nitpick. But I loved the movie. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, me too. It was a comic book movie, but it was a very good comic book movie.
Well, as comic book movies go, it's just comic book shows. It's just a good time sink, kind of.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't expect much intellectually, but yeah, that would have been awesome. It would have. I get it. With the superhero movie, you have to have a superhero battle. It's more or less like par for the course, but it would have been really.
Otherwise,
it would have been really cool if the ending was her like just stopping the bombs or the chemical weapons from going off, and she was like, she learned the lesson that there is no mythical god, that people are multidimensional, and there's just like, shades of gray, more or less.
Yeah.
And that killing a god isn't going to solve the problems and all that. And that was a bit weird that the god actually showed up.
Well, he showed up, but then again, I mean, the evil of the people didn't really stop.
Yeah, but then he said he was influencing the people the whole time, so... It was me. Oh. I did it. Ares.
Now everything's gonna be fine. Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Plus Ares as a villain is kind of weak in general anyways. Like,
Yeah.
He wasn't really seated. He just kind of showed up. But the things I liked were the cool action sequences and the whole setting up of the ending, which was Wonder Woman learning about how man is, fallible and weak, and yet also strong and hopeful, and has redeeming qualities.
It's a good premise. Yeah.
And I like the whole setup of having it in pre-war, in World War I times, where it was a good setting as far as just like escapism is concerned.
I agree.
Similar to like Captain America, I guess, in that you get to see another world. And then I like the whole, there's a lot of jokes about her learning how to fit into this like foreign culture and stuff like that. Fish out of water joke.
Yeah, those are the best.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
On Wonder Woman?
Or in general? On life?
On life. Yeah, life is great. Life is good.
All right, so that's it for this episode of Lore Friendly.
Oh, that was quick.
No, it was an hour.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
It's been an hour.
Yes,
It doesn't feel like an hour.
Yes. Time flies when you're having fun. I hope.
Indeed.
All right, that's it for this week. We will see you again next week.
Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
Whoa.
I'm just gonna put that dog in the
You got a
bedroom.
dire wolf.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, I've locked her in the bedroom. It should be okay.
Okay.
Now.